It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. Today we have an RD squared. It's going to be fun because you're probably asking yourself, what is RD squared? Well, we will hit on the race directing RD and registered dietitian RD, and also an ultra runner, super badass, all around crazy, cool human, Kayla Fitzgerald. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I
Definitely
actually
agree with the crazy part.
Well, I mean, if you're taking on all those tasks and doing all that stuff, you're definitely crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ultra runner, we always, everybody thinks we're nuts as it is. So,
Yeah. But we think it's normal because that's who we surround ourselves with, right? This weekend I had back-to-back long runs and people were like, wait, you did what? And I'm like, yeah. And that was just like my runs for the weekend. They're like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, that's really not. But it is ridiculous. Nobody, people aren't doing that. But because that's our world, right? It's who shows up on our feed and the podcasts we listen to. We're like, this is totally normal.
Yeah. And sometimes I forget that when I'm in a group of normal people.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, what did you do this weekend? Like, well, on Saturday I did 20 and on Sunday I did, 13. And they're like, 13 what? Miles? Like, did you drive? Like, no, and those are on trails or, and so it's
and
just
not a race.
No,
not a race.
No, just going out just to run.
Training
so
by myself.
Yeah. Wild. But
it's good
anyway.
Stuff.
Well, let's jump into who is Kayla, like as a runner, like how did you get your start into running? Because I feel like, you can't just be like, I want to be a race director for ultra marathons and I have no idea what an ultra marathon is. So I'm assuming first you ran one and then you're like, oh, okay, I can jump into this. So let's start at day one. Take us through how you became a runner.
Day one, I think it was shortly after having my kids, and I was like, who am I anymore, right? I feel like most parents probably are. You kind of lose yourself a little bit when you have kids. And I was like, I need to do something that's just for me, and somehow landed on running, even though I had hated running my whole life. But I was like, well, I can get up early and do this. All I need is a pair of shoes. It's super cheap, right? Yeah, joke's on you. So yeah, just started running in my neighborhood. I think it took me a whole month before I could run 1 mile without stopping, because I was just like, oh my God, this is why do people do this? And I didn't realize that after that initial just not fun part, that it actually gets really fun. So when I realized that, that's when it took off, right? You're like there's all sorts of kinds of races, and there's trails, and there's this and there's that. And so yeah, kind of started from the beginning, 5K, 10K, discovered trails, covered ultras.
How did you discover trail running? Because in my personal story, I was on the road and I just was running the road marathon, and I was listening to podcasts, and that's kind of where it came to me, people run on a hiking trail. I never even thought about that. It just never occurred to me that you can run. Obviously you can run on a trail, but it never was a thing to me. Nothing clicked there until I was listening to podcasts, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But were you surrounded by people that did this, or did you just kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna go run on this trail?
I don't know how my friend and I got signed up for this race. She's in Pennsylvania. I'm down in South Carolina. And somehow I don't know who convinced who, but we signed up for an ultra in Ohio on trails. It was called Running with My Gnomies. And there were gnomes hidden all over the trail. And if you came back and knew the correct number of gnomes, you got a prize or something. It was silly. But I, at the time, was still just training on the roads. I was like, I'm just going to show up to this thing, right? And where I live, it's super flat. Ohio, not so much. So I show up in road shoes. People are busting out trekking poles. And I'm like, what are these sticks that people are carrying around? No clue. Had not ran a trail in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Luckily, though, I grew up in a very rural place. And so I grew up in the woods. So to me, the woods is comforting. I know a lot of people are like, oh God, it's so scary. Aren't you afraid of, the animals and just the terrain is so tough. But to me, I feel when I'm in the woods on the trails, I feel like I'm a 5-year-old, like with a bag of candy, just living my best life. And so that's kind of how I discovered that, like you said, people do this, like people run on trails. And we were some of the last people that finished because I mean, I was like, what the heck is even like, I was so slow. I had no idea what I was doing, but I didn't want the day to end. Like we were getting close to the end of the race and my friend's like, oh my God, just 1 more mile left. I'm like, no, like I'm not ready to go. I want to stay out here forever. And
Was it a 50K or?
it was a
Yeah, okay.
50K. Yep. So it was like, I think it was 2 loops. So 25K twice. And yeah, that was the day I fell in love with it. And I was like, I don't ever want to run the road again, which is not realistic because I'm not lucky enough to live somewhere where there's a trail like right outside my door. So I do still run on the road a lot, but my heart is definitely in the trails.
I think you might be the first guest that said their first 50K that did not want to end.
Right.
That's pretty true.
Usually it's the other way around. I just wanted it to end. I just wanted it to end.
Right. That was my friend. She's like, I never want to run a 50K again. This is terrible. And I'm like, this is the best day of my life. Besides getting married and having 2 kids, of course. They're not going to listen to this. It's fine.
You could be
Number
honest. Where did it go from there? Did you do the progression of the 50 mile and so on?
I think I did. I think the next thing I did was a 50K back in Charleston. And it was actually with the company that then I ended up taking over and am now the race director of. So that was like my first South Carolina ultra. And I was like, wow, this is a lot easier than running with all that elevation up in Ohio. And so, yeah, I did another 50K, then 50 mile, 100K. Yeah, did like the usual build up, 100 mile.
What's your favorite ultra been so far?
Easy answer. Barkley Fall Classic for sure.
I have wanted to do that one so
favorite.
bad. Is it just it's that good, huh?
I mean, I feel like I have a very different definition of good. As Robbie mentioned, I'm like the first person you've heard say they didn't want their first 50K to end. So I may not be like the best person to make that judgment call for you, but it's just so different than anything I've ever done. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm here where it's flat. Like the trails are beautiful here, but I love getting away and being able to do other stuff too. So that race is it's so different than anything I've ever done. It's like the most miserable, but also the most fun I've
Yeah.
ever had.
So a lot of people know about the Barkley Marathons and what the Barkley Marathons are, but walk us kind of through like what the platform of the Barkley Fall Classic is.
Yeah, so it's at the same place. It's at Frozen Head State Park. Laz is still the race director, but the big difference here, well, a lot of big differences. Number one, it's 100% a lottery. So everybody applies and they just draw names, and he'll draw like a couple at a time. So you'll start seeing people post like, I got in, and you're like, crap, I didn't. And then 3 hours later, you're like, oh, here's mine. Or 3 weeks later, like you get yours. So
My gosh, it's that crazy.
Yeah, in true Laz fashion, he like draws it out.
That's true. Yeah.
You're just all your friends are getting in, and you're like, you suck, and then you're like, oh no, we can be friends again. So purely lottery, and then most of it is on trail, as opposed to the Barkley Marathons, which most of that is off trail. So navigation is not really a factor in this race. You do get to do cool stuff like Rat Jaw and Meth Lab and Testicle Spectacle and like some of those cool off-road sections. But yeah, for the most part, navigation isn't really an issue. You don't have to find the book pages, anything like that. But you've got 13 hours and 20 minutes to do this 50K loop. No technology, no trekking poles, pretty minimal aid. I've done it twice and have never finished, and I'm going back again this year. And
awesome.
Probably gonna DNF again, but I don't care because it's so much fun.
What do you think's the cause behind your DNFs?
Year one was just, I had no idea. Like I'd never been there. I had no idea like how hard it was gonna be. Year two, I think I moved a whole lot better. Like I trained a lot in the upstate. I'm here in South Carolina in the mountains. So I trained a lot better. I adjusted my fueling plan based on things that I did not do well the first year. I think I just need to be either faster overall or, I mean, there's parts you're legitimately climbing and like, I don't have a whole lot of upper body strength. So maybe I don't know. I don't know how to climb like literally hands and knees
Oh, your hands and
faster.
knees climbing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And then
wow.
there's parts where like you're going through the briars that are like over your head. And it's like, I don't know how to move faster through that. Because the second year it rained before I got there. So it was literally just like mudslide and briars.
That's
So
like
it's
going
kind of like, I
rat
don't know
jaw
how
kind
you
of.
train. Yeah, it was on rat jaw. So I'm like, I don't know how you train to like move better on that. Like it's just a slip and slide. A straight up and down slip and slide. So I don't know. I'm like, I guess maybe just getting faster overall. So this time I'm going to kind of train more like maybe I'm training for a marathon and work more on speed. I don't know. I've tried a couple different things. But that's going to be my guess this time. The nutrition I nailed down after round 1. So now I don't know. I'm just going to try and get faster. And that's kind of hard over the summer in Charleston because it's like 100 every day. I mean, even like right now, it was like 75 at 5 a.m. this morning. So it's like there's no beating the heat. But Barkley Fall Classic happens in September, which means like pretty much a May through September training block here, which is pretty brutal, but totally worth it. I keep saying it's the only race I will ever train for that's like in September or October because it's got to really be worth it.
What do you think the actual distance and elevation gain is on that race if you were to estimate or guesstimate?
People have guessed or like mapped it out afterwards, right? Like based on the map. And I've heard, based on what I've heard, this is not really my guess, like somewhere more closer to like 34, 35 miles and maybe like 10 to 12,000 feet of gain.
That's a brutal course
Yeah,
for
it
13.
is. Yeah. Yeah. And when I compare it with other things that I've done, I'm like, I'm not at that time.
Robbie, what's Speed Goat?
1,000 feet.
What's the
Gained and
time
lost.
on Speed Goat?
The cutoff, I'm not sure, to tell you the truth.
Robbie's our fast one. He's
Every group's got to have one.
I don't know. I know the last time I did it was 10 hours. But yeah, I don't know what the cutoff is.
You
I
are
want to say
fast.
15, but I could be wrong.
What about 100 mile? What's your favorite 100 mile?
Well, I've only done one, and it actually just wrapped up today. I was in the upstate of South Carolina, the Country Mile. It's a 48-hour race at a strawberry farm in upstate South Carolina. So it's completely open, like no shade. In the past, it was a 5K loop. I think this year they made it like a 4-mile loop. I think they extended it a little bit. My plan was just to do it in 30 hours or less so that I could go to sleep because it started, I think, at like 6 o'clock on a Friday evening. And so my plan was just really keep going, take minimal breaks, really no more than maybe like a cat nap here or there, get it done at 30 hours because that would have put me at midnight Saturday, Sunday. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to sleep all night and then wake up. And if I still feel like running, then I'll see what else I have left in the tank. And so that's what I did. And I mean, shockingly, I didn't feel like doing a whole lot the next day, but my friend still had a couple loops. So I like peeked out of my tent. I'm like, do you want some company? And meanwhile, you're like, please, don't want company. And he's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm dying. I'm like, okay. So got up, put those shoes back on and did a couple more. I mean, we weren't running at that point, but we were moving.
Yeah.
So I think I ended with, oh man, what would that have been? Like 106, 107, something like that. I never had the desire to do the full 48. I just, being like a mid to backpacker, I wanted that big cushion of time. And I wanted like all the things that I didn't need to worry about taken out of the equation. I didn't want to have to worry about navigation or drop bags or crew or like any of that. So I was like, as much as this may suck because it, and typically like those looped timed sort of races don't always have amazing courses. But that's because it's supposed to be like an easier terrain, not worrying about navigation, not worrying about it being really technical. So it was great because it took all of that out and I could just run. I was supposed to do Yeti 100 last year, but then obviously that did not happen with the storm. Oh, I was going to try to do 100 at this local county park trail, just running loops. And then I ended up getting to 100K, and my friend was kind of like, I'm out. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be a bad friend and just make you sleep in my truck at this county park. But it was so much fun. Like, our friends brought us Coke slushies and French fries and pizza, and like pretty much the entire time we were out there, people, like, we had friends with us. So I was like, I'm super bummed because I trained my butt off. I gave up my spot at Barkley Fall Classic to do Yeti. So I was super bummed, but I was like, you know what? This day was amazing. Like, I just spent the entire day in the woods with my friends, eating whatever the heck I felt like eating, taking a French fry lap, like just doing whatever. And it was a lot of fun.
Those races are not races, but those little events or fat asses, whatever you want to call them, they're just
Mhm.
they're a lot of fun when you just go out for a big day, and like
Yeah.
you get a bunch of people together and you go do a 50K. Like I remember those a lot more than I do like a lot of my races. And
Same.
like Robbie and I ran a 50K together that was just like an organized by us basically, and
Yeah.
we just went and did a 50K overnight. And like
I love it.
I still think about that and like how fun that was. We had such a good
Yeah.
time. We saw snakes, and like Robbie almost got bit by a snake, and like I'll never forget that. Just watching him jump 12 feet to the side when he almost got struck by a rattlesnake at like
Oh my God.
midnight. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. I just that group, and we were crewed. Like my wife came out and crewed us along the way, and a couple of the other spouses came out and crewed, but it was just like it was so fun. I remember having such a blast, and like, I remember that night really well. And but I've done a handful of ultras here and there, and I don't remember them as much as I do that one particular night. And I've had other adventures that I've gone on, but it's just like those are the ones that mean the most to me because you're hanging out with your friends, and there's no anticipation with times if you're going to walk. Who
Yes.
cares?
You can
It's just
do
I don't know.
whatever.
They're
Yeah.
fun.
Well, I think it also is a good way to remind yourself that, like, we do this for fun, right? Like, we kind of talked before we hopped on the podcast, about how, like, this isn't normal what we do, and it's like, we are doing it for fun. Like, yes, there are pros, there are elites, whatever, but at the end of the day, most of us are just out here to have a good time. So I think doing stuff like that, at least for me, is always a really good reminder of, like, it really does just need to be fun. And if you're not having fun, then maybe it's time to do something like that and just be like, screw it, I'm going to go run 100K on a 2-mile loop at the county park and eat French fries and drink Coke slushies all day. Like, and just have, like, do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to fit in this box. You don't have to do the things that everyone else is doing. Like, just do you. And that's part of what I love about running. Like, we got fast people, we got slow people, we got people in between. Like, everybody just can do their own thing and show up. And like, as a race director, I love making space for that. Like, there's room for everybody out there on the trails.
Yeah, it's a really good transition into you being a race director for Palmetto Ultras. First, tell us like what kind of ultras do you host?
Yeah, so our races, we usually have anything starting at like 10K up to 100 miles. Before I took over this company, it was called Eagle Endurance, and they put on like the same races I am. I essentially just bought the company, rebranded, made, put my touch on everything. But yeah, all of it's on trails here in Charleston, South Carolina. We do a lot of stuff. We have a big national forest here, the Francis Marion National Forest. So we do a lot of stuff in there. And yeah, I think really just overall, like I said, I want everyone to come out. Like, I want the road runners that are like, no, I'd never do that. Like, I want you to come out and see what it's all about, and I want the people that have been doing it forever to come out and crush that course record. Like, we just had a race a couple weeks ago, and somebody smashed the 50K record. It was like 340 something, right? So I was like, good God. Insane. And then on the flip side, we had this group of like 70-some-year-old women who came out and walked the entire half marathon. And they were like, thank you for having such generous cutoffs. Like, we just spent the last 6 hours out in the woods just walking. We walked the whole thing with each other. We had a great day, and like, we love doing these things, but there's often not races that we can do within the cutoff time. So like, that's what I want. I want the 70-year-old ladies coming out, just having a great time in the woods. And I want to see that guy like smoking the course record, you know? Like, there's room for all of it. And it's just, I love seeing it come together, especially as a runner myself. Like, it's cool to just see that, hey, you are making this place for people to come, and like they see it and they're coming. And I don't know. It's not anything that was ever on my radar to be a race director, but it is like, it's the best job I've ever had. I love
Yeah.
it.
What drove you to buy the company?
So the guy that was the race director before me, I mean, we became friends over the years. And when he announced, hey, I'm kind of stepping away, if anybody's interested in buying it, let me know. And I don't know, just immediately in my head, I was like, you should do this. And within 10 minutes of that post going out, like 4 of my friends had texted me and they're like, you should do this. And I was like, oh God. I was
I'm
like,
not the only
this
one
is
thinking
weird.
this.
So I hadn't even said anything to my husband yet at that point. I sent him a race director a text, and I was like, I haven't talked to my husband yet, but like, I'm really interested. Like, if anybody else reaches out, please, like, give me a minute to talk to him and see if this is something that we might want to do. I just, there's not a whole lot of ultras here in the Charleston area. I don't really think there's a few, but like not a whole lot here and not a whole lot super close by. And so I didn't want to see that die. And I knew that it meant I would never be able to run any of those races again. So that was kind of a tough choice. I had ran pretty much every race that he had put on. So I was like, well, at least like I've done them. So it's not like, no, you're never going to get to do this. And yeah, I didn't want to see it die. And I knew there was such great potential. You know, I've run races like in upstate South Carolina and gone to like their trail camp. And I loved the community that they had created. And I was like, I want that here. You know, I don't want to just experience that one time a year when I go to trail camp over the summer. Like, we can have that here too. And so I was really excited about like what it could become. That was kind of one of the big driving factors. And of course, my husband being like, all right, let's give it a shot, you know?
How many different events do you host?
We have 6.
Wow.
But last year we did 6, and they were all races that that were his races, you know, that had previously gone on. And then this year we decided we were going to cut one of them and then make our own race. So that's actually the next one that we have coming up, Cannonball Run. So this will be the first year for that one. So I'm really excited to kind of like do my own thing from scratch. So that'll be really cool.
Now, do you have any like interesting type races, or are they your traditional, like your timed events, your, K all the way up to 100-mile, your backyards, or do you have anything that's just like unique to Charleston?
I don't think we have anything that's necessarily like a unique style. We are doing a last man standing at this next one coming up, and there's not a ton around here because that's my favorite kind of race. So I'm always like scoping them out, trying to find ones that don't have, 1,000,000 feet of elevation gain per loop. Although the last one I did was in North Carolina, and every like 3-ish mile, 3.4 maybe mile loop, it was 800 feet of gain. So I was like, whatever, I thought I would do 2 loops, but I did 9. Yeah, I don't think anything like super different. I would say I think the coolest one that I think we do is at Swamp Fox, which was the one we just did in March. And that one, you do go across the entire Francis Marion National Forest, which is like something that I personally want to do. I tried to do it by myself, but weather got a little crazy, so I bailed. But yeah, they essentially run across an entire national forest, and I just think that's like really, really cool, which also makes the race like 105 miles. But I'm like, but if you didn't go the whole way, then you can't
Yeah.
say you ran across the whole thing. So you got to do it.
Plus, a point to point is like, you got to do a point
Yeah.
to point.
Well, it's out and back because
Oh, it
it's
is
like
out back.
52 miles out. Yeah, 52. But, when you come back through in the dark, it's a whole different trail, as I'm sure you've experienced in races. You're like, where am I? I've never been here before.
That's 100% true. What do you see in the future, you guys coming up with?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. I think just continuing to like make what we do better. Like when I took over, I knew, I wanted to have cool swag. I wanted there to be like good food at the aid stations. And my husband is a chef, so that kind of helps
Man.
in that aspect. The
Well,
one
now I got
race.
to know, like, what kind of food are you having
Yeah,
that
right.
Okay,
is
so
different?
the second
We're
one we
trying to
did.
use this podcast to get more people to come to Palmetto's. You got to sell your race here.
Oh God. So we have kind of become known for our quesadillas, which, sounds like kind of boring, but we always try to do like a cool flavor. Like our second race, he did duck confit quesadillas. And I was like, dude, you are gonna spoil the people. Like you can't.
My
Gosh.
gosh.
But my favorite one was the one we did in November. That was the quesadilla. So it was turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and cheese. And we
Oh,
did
I'm
some with that
100%
cranberry
down.
sauce
I'm
for the people who
100%
don't
down.
like the
Yeah.
cranberry sauce. But oh
You
my,
know,
it was one of those things where like we didn't try it out beforehand. We're just like, whatever, we're going with it. So I was like, man, this could not be great, But it was so freaking delicious. And everybody was like, this is like the best thing I ever ate. And how many times do you say that at a race and like genuinely mean it, right? Like that Coke at the end is always the best Coke you've ever had, or that burger was always the best burger. But like, I gotta say, I feel like our quesadillas really are like the best quesadillas I've ever had.
That's awesome.
you
You
I
can
thought
never go wrong with a quesadilla either.
no.
No. And
The
so many
brisket
options.
quesadilla I had at Dinosaur 100K, I thought. But hearing the duck confit
Yeah.
quesadilla and the Thanksgiving, I might just have to try the Thanksgiving one on
Gotta
my
come
own.
do
That
it.
sounds,
Come over this
sounds
way.
delicious. I love quesadillas on just in general, but when I'm running at quesadillas, just something crispy, salty.
Right. Crispy, salty, not sweet. Well, I guess the Thanksgiving. Well, no. Cranberry sauce
But it's
isn't like
sweet
super
and
sweet.
savory,
It was
so
like a
I could
touch
it'd
of
be
sweet,
perfect combination.
Yeah, this
They
is
really do
perfect.
just kind of hit the spot. It's funny. I was having a conversation with one of my Roadrunner friends, and we were talking about never try anything new on race day, and it's just like that does not exist in ultra. Like
No.
I don't think I've
No.
ever ran an ultra where I didn't try something new.
Exactly.
And it's like,
It'd be weird if you did.
can you imagine like having that feast of a quesadilla there, and you're like, nope, can't try
Right.
anything new on race day. Like I'm not passing that up. Get out of here.
Right? Come on. That's kind of like what an ultra is. It's like, okay, here's my nice little plan that I came in with on what I'm going to eat and what my paces are and whatever. And ultra's just like, you know what? Boom.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And then you just roll with it, And
Until you
that's,
get punched in the face, and ultra will always
yeah,
punch you in the face. Usually within
that's
like the
like,
first 10 miles. So
yes, that's its job. It'd be weird if you like, if things all went, I don't think I've ever ran a race where I was like, oh, that like shook out exactly as I thought. Unless
No.
it was one where I was like, I'm going to DNF that. Then I'm like, well, yes.
Go
That
ahead. No.
that went exactly like the last man standing. Well, no, I guess I actually did the opposite, went further than I thought. But I was like, well, I'm going to DNF. Like, I'm not going to win this thing.
Well,
But yeah, it just normally doesn't work out that way.
yeah, it never does. Never does. Two more questions about the first RD, and then we'll move into the second RD. But I'm a swag guy. I love swag. I wear my buckles. I not currently because I'm wearing shorts, but I have my first 100-mile buckle on from 2001, and I wear my swag. You said you had cool swag, so I got to know, like, what makes your swag original as opposed to the other 4 million races out there?
I mean, I try to think of things that, like, okay, I've never got that at a race, right? Like, so for example, Cannonball Run that's coming up, the last man standing, I literally found on Etsy a guy who engraves cannonballs. So the winner of the last man standing gets a cannonball
That's awesome.
with the logo engraved on it. Hellhole, probably
Do you
another
give
one
out a
of my
DNF
favorite.
award for everybody that DNFs?
We do. We have every race. We have them. They're these little wooden coins that have our logo on them, and it says DNF. I tried.
Cool. Well, I know normally, like last man standing, everybody that doesn't
Yeah.
win is a
Yeah.
DNF, right? And so usually
Well,
the
and
DNFers get something pretty cool
Yeah.
for
Yeah. We do like the DNF coins. Our last man standing, because I want to get more people out there, we're going to do it the way I've seen it at some other races where, like, because it's also part of a timed race, I'm going to let them jump into, like, the timed race if they time out of the last man standing. And I am going to give them credit for their miles on Ultra Sign It because I'm like, you know what? We're not a feeder into, like, bigs or, like, any of those
Okay.
things. So, like, come out and try it out. You know, if we were, you know, a bronze coin or whatever race, like we couldn't do those things. But I'm like, I just want people to come try it. And it's a format that people are so scared of. So I'm like, if I can take some of that away, I will. To me, I'm like, I want the DNF. Like, don't give me my miles. Don't put me in a different race. Like, I earned the DNF, give it to me. But I also recognize, like I kind of alluded to a little earlier, I know my way of thinking isn't necessarily the way like most people probably think. So I want to make that format more approachable, more enticing to more people. So, and when I, you know, talked to a lot of runners, that was some of the big feedback. They're like, well, what if I train for like 100, but something happens and I get timed out, you know, at 20 miles in? Like, that kind of sucks. I'm like, well, it does kind of suck. And if it was me, I'd be like, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But again, I want people to come out and like try these things that are maybe a little different, a little harder, maybe not like on their comfort level, and have a little bit of a cushion to feel like, okay, well, I can jump into this other race. Or, you know, if you're someone that cares about your Ultra Sign Up profile, you know, at least I won't have a DNF on theirs.
Yeah. Still get 30%,
Uh,
but you'll, you know, don't know.
right. Like, I have no idea what these numbers mean,
Who
nor do I
does?
care.
Who does?
But I know a lot of people do. So
And it's like the 1% that really care about that number.
yes, yes,
I
for
think
sure.
it's
I'm like,
funny,
I have no
but
idea.
you know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get as many DNFs as I can in 2025. If I can stay above 0%, I'll be really happy.
Perfect. Hey, you mentioned feeders to bigs.
Mhm.
You know, for those that are ultra runners and understand like what that is, for somebody else who's listening to this podcast that really maybe not know what bigs are or bigs is, and then what a feeder is, like kind of explain what that is.
Yeah, so Big's Backyard is kind of like the
OG.
what should we call it? Like this, yeah, like the OG, like the Super Bowl of like backyard ultras. And then there are races, and I don't know exactly like how you get certified and how it all works, but there are races that kind of like Western States qualifiers, right? Like, hey, if you run this race and like you win it, or you know, you're top whatever, then you can go on to this race, which then feeds into Big's Backyard. So like at Big's, you're seeing like the best of the best.
Harvey Lewis.
And like I said, our races are not that. So I'm like, hey, just come have fun and see how long you can last out there.
Yeah, we
But
have a bronze feeder up here.
Yeah.
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 And it goes down to our bronze feeder, I think, goes to San Francisco or San Diego, one of those.
Okay.
One of the sands in California to the silver one.
And like for me as like a mid to back of the pack runner, when I'm looking for those last man standing races, and I'm now seeing that like on more and more races, to me it's almost a turn off because I'm like, well, I know like there's going to be some like really, really elite people out there. And not that I just want to do one that I'm like, oh, I think that'd be easy to win. But like, I don't know. I think it's a really great format for mid to backpackers because we're used to being out there forever, right? We're not like, oh, hey, we're going to be done in a couple hours. Like, we know we're going to be out there. So I feel like it is a format that lends itself really nicely to like mid backpackers. And so, yeah, for me, if I see, hey, it's like a feeder race, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I want like a tier below that, you know?
I coached somebody for a backyard last year.
Yeah.
And we had made a plan of coming in at like 52 to 55 minutes. And I'm like, look, that gives you 5 to 8 minutes to take care of business, get what you need, and get back out. And he was coming off of another race, you know, a race pretty soon. So like the body was still kind of tired, but he wanted to do it, you know, and we put a pretty solid plan together. And I think his fatigue from the previous race kind of took over, but he still got like, I think he got like second or third place.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they don't place, but like he was the second or third person to, you know, he was either the first DNF or the, whatever they call the carrier or whatever they call
The
that.
assist. The
What is it?
assist, yeah.
The assist,
The
yeah.
assist.
So he was either the assist or the one right after that. And I'm like, dude, like you performed flawlessly in that play. And I think he got like 80 miles or something in. And it's
Yeah.
just like
Yep.
that back of the pack mentality. And you saw the ones that started out that went 35 minutes per lap. And you're like, and you know, he was kind of talking to me as we were going. He's like, these guys are throwing down like 35 minutes. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about them. Run your own race. And you're going to see that they're going to fall off at about 20 miles. And sure enough, at 20 miles, majority of the pack fell off because they went out way too hard and they didn't know how to, you know, maintain. And it's like us dogs that can just move and go, you know, for hours and hours and hours and play it smart.
That's what
I'm
saying.
still nervous
People
to do
are
one,
so
though.
afraid of them. Like, people are like, oh my God, no way. I can't believe you do those. And I'm like, I think they're more afraid of the DNF.
I'm scared of doing one,
anything.
honestly. I've been trying to talk
Do
Robbie into
one.
going do one because I think Robbie would murder a backyard. And I
Yeah.
think that's right up his alley. Other than the
Do
fact that he has to
it.
do loops. I don't think Robbie would like to do
Not a loop guy?
podcast. I'm like, Robbie, you are a backyard ultra runner.
You gotta do it. It's
know.
so much fun.
I got to do one. Like my strategy though, because you know, I remember I had a friend that ran bigs the first year, and he tied for first. It was the year that they both just quit because the guy had to get on a plane and go home because they, you know, he was like, I didn't know I was going to be out here this long, and I have a plane flight home. He's like, okay, well, we'll just quit. So he quit anyway. So I was talking to him, and I was like, what was your strategy? He goes, come in 2 minutes before I had to.
Yep.
He's like, I can't stop moving. He goes, I knew if I came in 10 minutes early, I would stop moving. He goes, I'd just eat real quick and keep moving. I never really stopped. I was like, that's perfect strategy. Like you were saying, Justin, you know, they come in 35 minutes. You got 15 minutes or, you know, 25 minutes of doing nothing. What are you
It's a
getting
lot
out
of
of
time
that?
to think about quitting, you know?
What are you getting out of that? Really nothing, essentially.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree. So see, you already have a strategy. You just need to do it now.
I know. I just need to sign up for one and do one.
Do it.
What does your 100-mile belt buckle look like? That's the number one question I have.
It is ginormous. Like,
Love
it's
it.
probably like this big.
No, it's not that big. Get out of
It
here.
is huge. It is huge. I'll shoot you a picture on Instagram. It's downstairs on my nightstand, so it sleeps right next to me every night.
So does anybody wear your belt buckles? Like, have you been?
That I thought you meant like mine personally. No. So mine are like normal human sized.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about the ones for your race,
Yeah.
like the race.
Yeah, they're
your
normal
race.
human sizes. Yeah. Well, we
Normal
have
human size.
5 races that have buckles. One of them is a marathon is the farthest it goes up to. So 5 of them have buckles. So they're all like different shapes, different sizes. Some have color. Some are more of like that old timey sort of look. But yeah, they're all like, you could wear them. But they're not like my dinner plate one.
I want a dinner plate one. I don't know why. I've seen a couple of them on Instagram, and I'm like, I would totally wear it. I just as a joke, but like I would go to dinner and just have this monster and be like, what is that? Like, oh, let me tell you a story.
Well, when I got my buckle, it was like this same time of year, and my anniversary is next week. So jokingly last year we were going out for our anniversary dinner, and I put on like this giant belt buckle, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. And he's like, no, you're not. I was like, no, I'm not, but I really want to.
That's awesome.
I would have let you wear it. Then as soon as we walked in,
I have
100-mile
a picture of
finisher,
me with it, like, all
100-miler.
dressed
She finished.
up.
She's a badass. She runs 100-miler.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. I did not wear it, but he was really sweet. He did like make sure he told like everybody like that she had just, I just ran 100 miles, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat all the food. So
That's
ready.
awesome. That's awesome.
I have a question. So you said you give belt buckles for 5 of your races?
Mm-hmm.
So there's, some people, say that anything at 100 miles shouldn't get a belt buckle, then 100K. It's the controversy of the belt buckle.
Yeah.
Have you got any negative? I think it doesn't matter what you give. I think whatever you give for featuring race is cool. It doesn't matter to me. As long as it's not like a medal that you put around your neck that we can't do anything with.
Yeah.
Like all those ones behind Justin.
Yeah. That you can't do. I think our last guest, we were talking about like, can you imagine wearing your medal from 2001?
my God. We should make that a thing. Like just
Just wear your
Medal
medals.
Monday, but wear it from like 20 years ago.
Yeah. What made you decide when you bought the race? Did they already do that, or did you decide to do that? Or
Yeah, so all of the 100 milers got buckles. So we kind of kept it at that. We don't do any we'll do like a different finisher item for everybody else, right? So like for our last race, Swamp Fox, the 100 milers got buckles, and then the finisher item for everybody else was like these really cool glasses with the logo on it. Or sometimes it is a medal. Like our next one coming up, it's like this really cool wooden medal with like a leather cord. Like I wanted to do something a little bit different. But yeah, just the 100 milers get the buckles. I've had like some moms of adult runners be mad when their kid DNF'd the 100 that they didn't have like a special like 50-mile buckle for doing half of what they signed up for. I'm like, no, but he got his DNF coin. So
That's wild.
Susan,
yeah,
you don't get
it's
participation
happened a
ribbons.
few times. Like moms of full grown humans be like mad, and I'm like, okay,
Do you give 100K
what are my
buckles?
policies? Just 100-mile. Yep.
Yeah, I know there's a
Yep.
lot of people that are like 100K shouldn't get buckles, and it's like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care either way. To me, though, I'm like, I don't know. I've always known it as a 100-mile thing, but I know I have seen, some races do like 100K. I know like the Yeti Dark Anchor, because it is a timed race, they'll do, they do have, I don't know if they're all buckles or I can't remember, but I know they'll do like you get something if you hit 100K or 50-mile or whatever. So they do have like some of those kind of milestone things in there. But again, that's a timed race, not hey, you signed up for 100, but you only did 50 and then DNF'd. So here's like the same thing that the 100-mile finisher get. You know what I mean? Like to
Yeah.
me, I'm like, that's not. But yeah, I mean, whatever someone wants to give out at their race, I'm like, you do you. There's so many different race directors and different ways to do things. And I don't feel like there's one right way to do it. Like the right way for you is the way that feels authentic and in line with your values and who you are. So
Yeah, I ran across a race the other day, just like, scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and I saw that they give out 50-mile buckles. And
yeah,
I think that was the first one I've ever seen as a 50-mile buckle. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I don't care, to each his own. I have like I think I have 300K buckles behind me. And it's just like,
yeah,
it's whatever. I like buckles. So I'm
yeah.
going to find if
Right?
100K, if I'm going to run 100K and it has a buckle,
Then cool.
I'm going to sign up probably more for it than I would with someone that didn't have a 100K buckle.
Right?
But
You're not gonna like give it back and be
yeah,
like, no, this
exactly.
is only for
I
100
don't want this
milers.
buckle
You
because
keep
it's a
it.
100K buckle. Get out of here. I wear them too. Well, let's move in. Let's move into your the RD squared, the second RD, registered dietitian. Have you always been a registered dietitian? Was that your primary, I guess, source of income before buying the ultra race company, and then I guess I don't know where I'm going with this. Go ahead and talk about it.
I love it. Yeah. So yeah, that I guess was like and still is one of my jobs, but that was, I guess actually, so I went to school like as people do when they're 18, you go to college, and I started out in school for nutrition. And then I decided like this is a lot of fun here at college, but having to study for like organic chemistry and biochem is kind of cramping my fun. So I changed my major to marketing, which when I say this, it always makes me feel like a dinosaur. Like the forms of marketing that we learned were newspaper, TV, and radio. Like social media was barely a thing. So social media marketing was definitely not a thing. And then I, got older, grew up, got married, and was like, yeah, I don't want to do anything with this degree. So I was like, I guess I'm going to go back to school. So I went back to school. I don't know. I guess I was maybe 22, 23. Didn't take long to figure out I didn't want to use that degree I just spent 4 years getting. So I went back to school, got the degree in nutrition. And yeah, I guess that's probably been 8, 9, somewhere around there. years ago. I started off in a hospital doing like clinical nutrition stuff, and I loved it. I got to like wear my nerd hat and do math and all that fun stuff. So I loved it. But with 2 little kids and a husband who works in food and beverage, I was like, I can't, like, this is a lot. If it's Christmas and I have to work and he has to work, who's hanging out with like who's going to be available to babysit? We don't have a ton of family down here. So I ended up working for a friend's private practice, and I just kind of saw everybody, not really like athletic sports sort of stuff, more just like weight management, or I have kidney disease, like just kind of general nutrition stuff. But the more I got into running and realized personally, like how different running or nutrition for runners is from like that general population nutrition, I was kind of like, holy crap, like this is its own beast. And like a lot of people don't know about this. And, like I need to do something with this. So my husband was like, well, you should start your own thing. And me being me, like if you say jump, like I'm already, you haven't even finished the sentence. And I'm like, boom. So he comes home from work the next day. I'm like, I quit my job. He's like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And he's like, do you know? I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're going to do it. And, so yeah, it's been 3 years since I took that jump, and I love it. So now I really only work with runners, and really runners who like want to learn how to fuel up. Like I'll have intro calls with people who are like, I want to lose 20 pounds while I train for my marathon. And I'm like, that's not me. I'm not your girl. Like I just ethically, I cannot do that. Like I could help you do it, but I'm not going to. It's not healthy. It's just not what I do. So I want to work with
Well,
the
actually,
runners that are like,
training for
I
your
want to feel
marathon,
good.
you're going to gain some weight. So,
Right? Yeah. They don't like
no,
hearing
they
that.
don't
I
like
mean,
hearing
nobody
that.
does. I don't like it either. It's why like I don't even own a scale. I'm like, I have no idea. I don't care.
What do you see in runners being the biggest? What's their biggest concern when you're working with runners? Are there a lot of them coming off of EDs, and are they concerned about eating carbs and learning proper fueling tips and tricks and that type of stuff?
Yeah, I think there's a couple big trends that I see. One, like you kind of mentioned, like that fear of carbs, right? Like, so like I kind of said a couple minutes ago, right? There's like runner nutrition, and then there's like Gen Pop nutrition, right? And we're kind of inundated with those messages of like, half your plate should be fruits and vegetables. And I'm like, no, it should not. Not if you're training for an ultra or even a marathon or whatever. So like people just see those messages and think, well, that's what I should be doing. And it's like, no, that's essentially nutrition for preventing disease. Like it's not nutrition for performance. But one of the biggest things I see is people like us don't look at themselves like athletes because they're like, I'm not a pro, I'm not sponsored, I'm not, whatever. And so they think, well, if I'm not like running in the Olympics or something, then like I don't, even if they're running ultras, like there's this roadblock of like, well, I'm not a pro, so I don't need to be eating.
They're doing
Like,
50 miles a week and running 50, 100-mile races, but
yep. Yeah. But they're like, okay, I'm going to have a salad for lunch with like lettuce and carrots and low fat vinaigrette, and that's a meal. And I'm going to not eat breakfast. I'm just going to have coffee on my way out the door, and then a really sensible dinner. And I'm like, y'all, you need to need to eat more. But people are really afraid to eat more because, like you said, that fear of, well, I don't want to gain weight while I'm doing this, because a lot of people do come into it. I would say maybe less in ultra running, more so maybe like road running, like up to marathons. I feel like a lot of people come into that to maybe lose weight, but I don't see that as much on the ultra side. I don't know about you. I know you coach, so I don't know if you see that a whole lot, but I feel like in the land of ultras, most people that I at least have worked with aren't necessarily coming in being like, I think I'm going to lose weight while I do this.
I think most people that run, sorry, I just looked out the window and it's like dumping snow.
Same here.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
exactly. Yeah, in South Carolina. I think most people that get into ultras, like they've been running for a couple of years. And so they
Yeah.
somewhat have an idea of what
Yeah.
their, I wouldn't say they know what their nutrition should look like, but they know that when they go to a race that there's going to be a buffet of quesadillas
Yep.
and a turkey dinner
Yep.
And so I don't think that ultra runners, it's hard to say because I know there are some that probably
Sure.
still
Yeah.
do it, but I think that they have a little bit of more of an understanding of I'm going to be running 50 whatever miles a week. I need to be able to fuel myself. And that doesn't look like a salad with some chicken. It's like, if you want to go have some pizza, go have some pizza because your body needs the
Yeah.
calories.
Yep.
And so,
Yeah. Well, and that's like another thing that I see a lot of is like they know, right? So there's the group of people that are like, I know I need to eat more. And so maybe they have upped what they're eating, but what they were eating before was like still so little that even that uppage that they've done is still like not enough, but to them it feels like a lot. So like for my runners in group coaching, and I have a membership option, like really kind of baseline thing, and we have a Slack channel. And so sometimes I'll post pictures like, hey, this is what I'm eating like the day before a long run. And I hate, sorry if anyone on here loves them or makes them or whatever, I hate the like what I ate in a day videos and stuff, because I'm like, everybody's so different.
they are.
But like in the context of, hey, we're in this like smaller group thing, I can explain that context. You know what I mean? And so it's not just like, oh, I'm throwing it out to the general population on Instagram and people are going to come up with all these conclusions. Like I can walk them through it. And so sometimes I'll be like, look at this plate, like look at this ridiculous amount of rice that I'm eating, and like how there's not a whole lot of chicken and there's not a whole lot of whatever vegetable because I'm going to run 20 miles tomorrow. Right. And then maybe I'm in an off week, like a deload week, and I'm like, okay, now look at this plate, like same meal, but it looks a little bit more of what we consider, balanced, just because I don't need as much rice maybe as I needed during that that crazy big build week. So a lot of times people think like, oh my God, I'm eating so much. And it's still like not enough, right? So you're like, I know you think that's a lot because everyone, in our minds, we're like, here's like my typical plate. And anything over that is kind of
Yeah.
like, oh God, like I can't do that, And so I've gotten comments on it in our little Slack group, like, thank you for sharing this. Like I would have never put that much rice on my plate. I had no idea, that it was supposed to look like that. So it's just, I don't know, like on my Instagram, I just try to make like eating a boatload of food like normal, like it's okay. Like Friday, I had a long run and it was 80 degrees out when I finished. And I was talking to my friend on the way home and I was like, I have no appetite at all. Like, I just feel blah from running for like 4 hours in 80 degrees. She's like, you should stop and get a milkshake. And I was like, heck yes, I should. So, like, I had a milkshake for lunch. Would I normally have a milkshake for lunch? No. But, like, on that day, I wouldn't have ate anything if I didn't go get that milkshake. You know what I mean? Like, I did not want to eat anything. So in that moment, like that was a great choice for me. It was like, here's a way I'm going to get some calories in
Yeah,
until
but I mean, you
like,
got to think your run was probably like you burned like 25 to 4,000 calories, and you
yeah,
need that
Yeah.
yes,
replenishment. And then what's a milkshake?
yes,
1,000,
yeah,
1,200 calories? Like you're not
nothing.
even getting close to what you
No,
burned.
Yeah.
no.
And
And
you
I'm
know,
not
and you
saying
might
that
have
it's
eaten like
healthy,
3 or
right? Like,
yeah.
yeah, like I could have come home and done like a smoothie or like something with a little more nutrition. Like I'm not sitting here being like, oh, like a milkshake's super healthy, but
Hey, she told me to go get a milkshake. I'm doing it.
and you should. And like that's the thing, sometimes we have like such high calorie needs, especially on those big days, that it's like if you were to try to meet your nutrition needs with just clean whole foods,
Yeah.
do you know how much volume you would have to eat?
Oh, a ton.
Like
Yeah.
it would be,
Mm.
and sometimes those are the days we're the least hungry. Like I know for me on long run days, sometimes it's like 2 days later and I'm like, here it is. Like
Yeah.
she's back. She's ready to eat.
Yeah, that normally happens to me. Like when I run 100, the next day I'm not hungry at all. And it's so
Yep.
odd that like, I mean, I'll order because my mind is telling me I need the food, and like I'll order something big and I'll like be a bird pecking at it.
Yeah.
But then like
Yes.
2
That was
days
me at
later, I'm
dinner
like, I
last
need
night.
all the food.
Yeah.
Ping
Can
me the
never get
case of
full.
Oreos.
So yeah, it's like you gotta go with like sometimes it may not be the most nutritious thing, but like you gotta go with what works sometimes. And it might be a case of Oreos. It might be a milkshake for lunch, and that's okay. Like that is not destroying your health, I promise.
Yeah.
Not eating it
I
would.
often tell my athletes, like when you're coming up to an aid station, like we build a nutrition plan prior to, and like we're going to stick to our plan, and then we're going to supplement with the aid station to make your, your carb load a little bit higher when you're out running. But when you come up to an aid station and you see something and you want that, eat it, because that's your
Eat it.
body telling you that you need it. Like if you come up and you see some Oreos and you're like, I want those Oreos, your body's craving something sweet.
Yep.
Give it something sweet. And so I think that's the same way, like after a run, like a lot of times I'll stop at this coffee shop and they have the Works burrito. It has like, it's a
Ooh.
burrito, but it has like 3 types of meats. It has eggs, it has hash browns in it, cheese, and it's just like a big glob of everything, and it's super freaking delicious.
That
But like,
sounds so good.
you go run 20 miles, and you stop and get a coffee and get one of those massive Works burritos, and it's like, that's like, it hits just perfect. But
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I've been all over the place. Now I'm just eating whatever. One of the things, though, I have to continue to tell myself to, let other people know is like the thing we love to do is not the healthiest thing. We can be honest with it. We're already pushing the line. It's not healthy anyways. Well, to a point, right? There's a point of diminishing return. But now it's like we have all these people telling us what is nutritious, throwing us all this stuff down the throat. You need to have a morning routine, afternoon routine.
So many routines.
Yeah, so all this, right? And believe me, I played into this and listened and tried a bunch. And I've finally come to the point it's like, what does my body need? What do I want? If I'm denying myself what I want and need, what else in my life am I denying myself of? It can be a lot of big things. Like I've done it, and now it's just like if I go out and do something big and I want a milkshake and fries and a burger, then maybe another milkshake after that one,
Second milkshake is never wrong.
Never.
Right. It's just like, but it's hard. And this is one thing we hear a lot of runners say is, I run to eat. Well, I run to go do adventures and see cool shit. But I get to eat. So that's the benefit of that. And a lot of times when I hear that, I'm like, what's the underlying problem here? Like, why are you running to eat? Like, let's take it back and figure out all this. And there could be a lot of stuff to that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like trying to change that mindset of, hey, we're out there doing big stuff. Eat as much as you want. Just take care of yourself. Don't listen to all the crap that it's not nutritious, it's not organic, whatever else. Our body does not care. It uses it fuel and it needs it.
Yeah, such a good point.
That's just where I'm at now. And, I did keto, I did carnivore, I've done it all.
Yeah.
And I've seen the benefits of that, but I've also seen my performance go away, and I've also not lived the life I want to live. I love food.
Yeah.
I love milkshakes. I love cake,
Well,
whatever.
I love that
all
you
that
said,
stuff.
like, I'm just eating whatever, right? Like, and you said, like, I've done carnivore, keto. Like, I think people really like having a title for it. Like, I'm eating whatever, right? And I'm like, no, like, you can just do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, it doesn't have to have a name. Just like I said in the beginning about, like, running, we don't have to fit in a box. Like, you can literally eat whatever you want. Like, I have a really great friend who kind of bounces back and forth between, like, some sort of plant-based and not being plant-based. And I'm like, you can just, like, do both, right? Like, if you really like being plant-based, like, you can do that more. But if you want to have a hamburger, like, you can also do that, like, it doesn't have to just be super cut and dry. But I think with nutrition, a lot of times people really do like a framework or, guidelines or, just whatever, because like you said, a lot of times there's deeper stuff going on underneath. And if you take away those rules and let people do whatever they want, then all that stuff comes up to the surface. All this kind of like control or like messed up relationship with food stuff comes up, and we don't want to deal with that. And so being like, this person on the internet told me to do X, Y, and Z, I will do X, Y, and Z, because that means I don't have to deal with my stuff, right? And so I feel like I see that a lot, not just in runners, but even when I worked kind of with, just anybody. It's like, well, if you just tell me what to do, I'll do it. And I'm like, I can, but like that is only going to last for so long. And that kind of sucks. Like you said, you're not living your life. You're missing out on things. It's not really authentic. It's me saying, here, you should eat these things. And you're not really learning much from that.
I know there's a new, the new buzzword that's not really ever been a buzzword in ultra running, but it's high carb.
Mm-hmm.
Running high carb. That's never really been a thing in ultra running.
Like,
We've always been there
Yeah.
since the get-go, but like the
Yeah.
road
Come
running
join
community.
us.
Yeah, the road running community. And I've noticed in the cycling community, it's kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're starting to realize that these higher carbs are making them perform better.
Weird.
Yeah. What do you see as it is too much versus like what is kind of the right amount? I know that every person is different and it's based off like, if you're running a road marathon, you're out there, you're putting in a lot higher effort than if you're running a 100-miler. But there's got
Yeah.
to be some sort of balance there. And, I'm talking more for us ultra runners. For
Yeah.
me particularly, I like the 50, 60 an hour. And I think that works really well for me. And I think Robbie's kind of the same way because we've discussed it quite a bit back and forth. But what do you see as an ultra runner who is someone who's mid to back of the pack? What does that right carbohydrate an hour look like from a registered dietitian?
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, everybody's a little different, but typically what I'm taking in and what I'm recommending with my runners, anything that is over like 2.5 hours, somewhere in that 60 to 90 grams of carbs range. I'm normally sitting probably somewhere between 60 to 75. Very rarely I'll like push it up above that. But yeah, like you said, different efforts are going to require different carb amounts. I mean, even like the temperature, the condition, like there's so
Yeah,
many
very true.
things that go into it. That even within a race, sometimes when I'm writing fueling plans, it's like, okay, like these hours you're going to be at, 60 grams, but over here, maybe like we're going to drop you down to like 40 or something. If you're like, I'm just going to be death marching overnight or whatever. But
That's
yeah,
actually a
60
good
to
thing you brought
90.
that up because I do the same thing. I
Mhm.
notice that I lower my carbohydrates when I'm marching through the night.
Yeah.
My
Yep.
stomach might be a little upset from, eating 60, 70 grams of carbs an hour for 12, 13, 14 hours.
Yep.
And then through the night, I'm like, man, just let me slow it down a little bit. We naturally move slower through the night as it is. I've noticed that my carbs have lowered during that time frame. So it's very interesting that you bring that up. I didn't mean to cut you
Well, and
off,
it's a
but
good time to
it's
eat like more heavier stuff too, right? Like that is a great time for like a burger or,
the
some
noodles,
quesadillas or whatever. Yeah, like something
Pizza.
that you're like, I wouldn't
pizza. Yeah.
necessarily want to eat this and then start running again right away.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's people out there that'll like, eat all sorts of stuff like while run. And I'm like, no, man, if I ate a hamburger, like I would have to march it out for probably like an hour, So although maybe you might be eating less carbs or at least less of like the really added sugary sort of stuff that we normally tend to, that if it is available, at whatever race you're at, like that's a great time to really try to get some more like solid, well-rounded calories. Like you can do a little more fat, you can do a little more protein. That's why, people on bike have such higher carb intakes. It's not as much jostling around as running, right? So like they can tolerate a little bit more. It's really like that jostling around of the
Yeah.
gut that
Yeah.
like, if you've ever ate
Stomach's
a
just
meal like
shaking
or
for
a heavy,
30
yeah,
hours.
you can feel it. You're like, oh my God. So yeah, it's like I said, I think 60 to 90 really is like a pretty good range for just about anybody to stick to. Again, super general nutrition advice, but that's a good kind of rule of thumb to at least get started playing around with. Like that's where you should be if you're running ultras. Like anything lower than 60 is probably not quite enough.
And jumping to 60 grams an hour, though that is kind of on your lower spectrum of what you suggest,
Hmm.
I think that's a really good starting point. How soon should you start practicing that 60 prior to your event? Because
I mean, like
jumping
as soon
into,
as you hit that ultra sign up
yeah,
button,
okay, good.
well, maybe not, don't jump to 60. If you are at 0,
Yeah,
don't jump to 60, right? Like I'm working with somebody right now who's training for their first ultra, and I think we were doing like 25-ish, like one gel per hour, right? And I was like, okay, next week I want you to do like one gel and then maybe like 4 or 5 chews, right? Like let's get it up closer to like 35, 40 grams of carbs. So I usually will keep somebody there for like about 2 weeks. Just kind of depends on how they feel too, right? Like sometimes the stomach is like, nope, like we're not ready for this yet, or maybe it's just that fuel isn't agreeing with them. Usually increments of like 10 to 15, I'll kind of up it like every 2 weeks because you don't want to go from 0 to
yeah.
60.
And
That's
I think
not
that's
good,
something
right?
that a lot of people neglect when
Yeah,
they are training for an ultra is like you also have to train your gut. And it's
absolutely.
hard to do when our longest run is probably 6 to 8 hours, you
Yep.
know? And so
And
like
your
how
ultra
can
could
you
be
really
24
mimic
plus.
Yeah, how can you mimic a 30-hour race with 6 hours a
I
training
mean,
run?
you don't. You practice it as much as you can. Like, I will have people do it not just on their long runs, but also on like some speed work and stuff, right? Like if on race day you're like, "Hey, I'm going to be going faster than my long slow pace," especially for like sub ultra sort of stuff, but even for ultras too. Like, I want to know how your gut's going to feel when you're running, 2 minutes per mile faster, because that's going to be different. Like, your gut on speed work is a little bit less forgiving than your gut on a long, slow run.
Well, that's
Any
interesting that
run
you
that you can practice it on is money in the bank. Like, do it all the time. It's not going to hurt, especially if you're training for an ultra, like being really well fueled for all of your runs, not just putting all the emphasis on the long run is huge.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up because David Roach has been coming out and saying what he's been doing. And he does a
Mhm.
lot of liquid nutrition and he's
Yep.
high carb. I think he's up to,
Yep.
what is he, 120 an hour or something like that?
Something like
Somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he chugs 120 grams
Yep.
and then goes and does a speed workout.
Yep.
It's like, if you're not training the gut like that, that's insane.
Yeah.
I want to try it. I really do. I just
Ooh,
want to
I
go
do
try it.
not want to. If you try it, let me know. I'm like, I do not. I don't need to do that science experiment on myself. I don't.
That's so fun. That's so fun. Well, Robbie, you wanna take us through some quick fire?
Yeah, you ready for some quick fire questions?
Let's do it.
These should all be pretty easy to answer, except for maybe one or two. But favorite shoes?
Are we back? I think we froze.
Yeah, we're good. Did you hear me?
Okay. No.
Favorite shoes? What's your favorite shoes?
Ooh, I think right now probably Hoka Speed Goat, but in wide, because I got a little wide foot.
I've been wearing Hokas since 2014.
I
So
love them.
I've been through all the speed goats. Ever tried the Mafate?
I have not. Should I?
Try the Mafate.
Okay. I actually like literally need to order. My speed goats are currently on like their last leg, so maybe I'll try that one next.
Yeah, try the Mafate. I prefer it.
All right. I'm gonna give it a
After,
try.
what was it, like the version 4 of the speed goat, I kind of fell out of love with them. Then I switched over to the Mafate and been in
Yeah.
the Mafate ever since.
You think I should go wide if I like a wide and speed goat?
Actually, I was having that discussion with someone else today. I don't know if they do the wides and Mafates.
Man. All right. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, you'll have to check. You'll have to check.
Yeah.
Because the other person I was talking to, they ran in wides in the speed goat, but they've been running in Mafates too. But yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
All right, next question. Favorite RD race nutrition?
Oh, definitely Sour Patch Kids and Nerd Clusters. I can't just have
Did you say nerd clusters?
Sour Patch and Nerd Clusters. Those are
No
my
clusters are so good.
We need to like
They really
start
are.
keeping track of these, like, because nerd clusters are number one.
Yeah, they're the
That's
best.
been a lot of people have said nerd clusters.
So
Should get
good.
them to sponsor one of your races. That'd be great.
I know. I try like tag Sour Patch and Nerds and like nothing. Come on, guys.
There was a elite that tagged nerd clusters. I was like, I don't want a sponsorship, but I just want you to know how good your nerd clusters are for race day nutrition. And I don't remember whatever happened with that. Because people were like, you should sponsor this guy. I don't remember who it was anyways.
Man, I'm just gonna keep tagging them till they say something, you know?
Well, if they were they're already making tons of money, right? Because they're
Oh, yeah.
marketing to kids and all of us. But
Right?
if one of these like Sour Patch or Nerds like just did a little marketing and went into the endurance sports.
Oh yeah. I've talked to the Go-Go Squeeze people, like the applesauce pouch, because I'm like,
Really?
y'all need to make one with added sugar. It was like after the awesome sauce debacle, because I was like, I just need like a sweetened applesauce in a freaking pouch. Like, you can't find it. It's all organic, no
Yeah.
sugar added. I'm like, give
Yeah.
me the good stuff. And they're like, that's like not really what we do. And I'm like, well, you should. And I don't even need any money for it, for this idea. But please make sweetened applesauce in a pouch. Like,
Has
runners
Spring
will
Energy
buy
gone
it.
under yet, or are they still around?
No, they're still kicking.
I got blocked
Still
from
pumping
their
out those MCT oils.
yeah. I got blocked from their Instagrams.
I wonder if they blocked me. We
I don't
had
know.
some
I,
words.
I
Disaster
talked
pants
a
oil.
lot of crap about them. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, I'll recycle something just to make sure I hit my point.
Fire back up.
All right, next question. Favorite hydration pack, vest, or whatever you use?
I love for longer days. It's the Ultra Spire Zygos, I think is what I have. It's like 2 editions ago is the one I have because my friend this weekend just said they came out with, I think, the 6 and I have the 4. But I love that thing. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. It's a workhorse. It's definitely my favorite for long days on the trails.
Packs are so
I
much
know.
fun. I love
Yeah,
They
no.
are.
We could talk about
I
packs
hate
forever.
them in the summer because it's so hot. So I tend to do like shorter loops and I'll just come back to my car. But yeah, I love knowing like I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff in here and not see other humans for hours. And half of the weight of this probably is nerd clusters and Sour Patch Kids.
We've talked about this before. Like, I wear my vest even like on 3 mile runs. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
someone was
Why
calling it their
not?
safety vest, one of our guests. I was like, that's perfect. Safety vest. Like, that's it. It's my safety
I mean, you
vest.
never know what you're going to need.
Well, he was like,
my
I put my
emotional
phone in
support
the
vest is what I like to call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, emotional support vest. Like,
I wear it everywhere.
I could put my phone in there. My keys got a place. I got water.
Right?
It's just so convenient. You don't
first
have to wear
aid.
anything else. You just,
Yeah.
I'm so
it's the
used to it
best.
anyways. Like, I'm going to run my
Hands-free.
races in it. Why not train with it? So,
Yeah.
See? Exactly. Double
Yeah.
duty.
All right. What is like your favorite running clothes, shorts, leggings, tops?
It is tough. I wear a lot of rabbit. I love anything that's perforated. So it's, living here where it's hot. So like all the rabbit, like perforated tanks. I love those. What are those shorts called? I think they're called Surfs Up or something. They're almost like a board short, but they wick sweat like real because they're meant to get wet. And so that happens a lot in the summer when it's 100 degrees here. So yeah, I love those shorts by Rabbit and I love like all their perforated tops. It's probably my favorite. But I'm trying some new stuff. I got some Janji shorts coming in. And I just got a pair of Lululemon shorts that I was pouring sweat and they were like this bright red color. And sometimes where you wear like the bright colors and there's no pattern, it just looks like you've peed your pants. Like, that did not happen. So I was like, these might be my new favorite shorts because if I can run in fun, bright colors and it doesn't look like I've peed myself, that's a win.
yeah, for
So
sure.
a lot of good competitors out there.
I just got a pair of the Path Projects half tights, the Centennials,
Did
and I
you?
wore
Yeah.
them for the first time yesterday, and they are amazing.
It's
So
like
I went
the
with
best
this-
when you find something like that you just love.
Does Path make
I do
women's
have to-
clothes yet?
What was that?
Does Path make women's clothes yet? Or are they still for men?
I didn't.
I think
Actually, they had some women's stuff in there, but I don't remember.
Okay. I know for a
One disclaimer, though,
long
like-
while, they were only.
So I ordered the size that they said I should order. I don't know who they're modeling this after. It must be tall, lengthy ultra runners. My legs. Justin, you probably wouldn't have to order 2 sizes bigger to get your legs in those shorts.
My thunder thighs.
Yeah, but those things are not going to fall down. I could load all those pockets. So they got like elastic around where it goes around your quad and your hamstring, and it's like tight. And there's no
That's
way those things
cool.
are falling down. So just had to throw that out there.
Cat running to make an
Nice.
appearance.
Yeah.
You know those
Right.
shorts that have the kind of built-in band that you can put your snacks in. You know what I'm talking about? It's above the waistband.
I've seen Rabbit has a pair. I think it's called like Smash'ems or something like
Yeah, I don't
that.
know what they're called.
Yeah.
Those are not made for people that have bellies. I ordered a
Um,
pair and I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was going to flip down because my stomach is popping.
They should put that in the description.
Yeah, because every model and every website is like a
Yep.
stick. And it's
Must
like,
be super skinny.
yeah, that needs to be a disclaimer there. Must be super skinny to wear these shorts because as soon as I put them on, it's weird. It comes up to like your belly button and like guys don't wear your pants. I know women wear their
Oh, yeah.
pants higher than men do, but guys don't
Yeah.
wear their pants at their belly button. And then they come up that high, but then my stomach sticks out and it flips it back down. And it's just like, this is so awkward. I put them on, tried them on, and then I immediately like took them off. I
Yeah.
was like, these are
Did you even
awful.
try to like put the snacks in, or were you like, no, this is not
No,
gonna
it'd be
work?
no way. They'd be just like falling down because all the snacks are just falling out. I don't
Maybe
know.
the
So,
snacks like help keep it up. I don't know.
I don't know. I just bought a Solomon little thing, and that's what I wear.
Yeah. You funny.
I just thought when you were mentioning that, I was like, oh, let me tell my story of these. That stupid design. It's a great design because, like, all the elites wear them, all the elite
Yeah.
men wear them, and they just have like 500 gels. And I'm like, God, that's a great idea. Yeah, that guy weighs
How they
120
stay
pounds
up?
because they 120 pounds. And
Yeah.
What shorts are these? Are they pants shorts? I did not
no,
miss
they're the
part of
shorts, that have like you have the waistband, right? And then it has that
Mhm.
like band for your gels and stuff, and you're above it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those are not meant for us. Oh, it's too funny. It's funny. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Robbie.
Next question. If you were a dinosaur, which one would you be?
Man, I mean, like, pterodactyl popped in my head first, but like T-Rex is just so fun. Like, but I don't know if I would be able to eat the snacks with those little hands. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's why you gotta do the Velociraptor.
yeah,
You get speed, you get agility, you
everyone's
still eat
afraid of you
snacks.
and throw snacks at people.
Yeah, you could just murder people.
You
Dude.
get a cool little voice to make those cool sounds. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what they sound.
You could just flare up your little wings or whatever they are.
Oh man, I forgot about that one. Those guys are pretty cool too.
You didn't think when you come on a podcast about running that you would be talking about what kind of dinosaur you would want to be.
No, I mean now I feel like I really need to sit down after this and like do some research and come up with like a solid answer. So if you get a random message from me that just says a dinosaur name, that's what it is.
One of
That's
our
me
guests like
trying
just
to figure it
dropped
out.
this like one that I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this guy knows way too much about dinosaurs.
Right?
He has researched this question prior to.
Like I'm just gonna believe you that is a dinosaur.
You know what? That'd be really funny to put on the ultra sign up. The questions that you ask, like what, if you could put that in there. I don't know if you can do that because I don't race direct.
You
but
can, yeah. You can make up like you can ask any question
how
you want.
fun would that be to be like, what kind of
I like
dinosaur?
that.
If you could be any dinosaur, what kind of dinosaur would you be? How fun of a question would that be? And then like, maybe it's a pre-race meeting or something. You're like, you read some of the funny answers, like.
Yes, or like all the velociraptors start
Yeah,
over
yeah.
here, all the T-Rexes. Like you have to stay with your pack.
There has to be like a velociraptor has to be like the orange color, the ones that are like the
Yes.
creatives, the super outgoing, like those are the velociraptors. The free will people, those are the pterodactyls that want to fly. And so
Yes.
we're on to something here.
I know, I like this. I'm gonna start adding some weird questions into my
I
race
feel like you have to.
registrations.
Like, if you have the
Yeah.
option to add weird questions, why are you
Yeah.
not adding weird scores?
You can do whatever you want. Yeah. I love this. I am so excited.
Oh, sponsored by Golden Hour Adventures here.
All right. Last question.
All right.
If there was a bucket of 1,000 grapes, and if you eat one grape, you get $5,000, but one of those grapes was poisonous, how many would you eat?
Oh my God. I don't know. 0? I don't want to die.
Perfect.
How poisonous are we talking? Like
Deadly.
certain death or
Dead.
like you're going to
Dead.
see some weird stuff for a couple hours? Because that's kind of just like running an ultra. So
No, dead.
that's not a big deal. But death, I
Death.
think I'd have to go 0. Yeah. I would rather be poor and alive.
I like it.
Chance having some bonus dollars and be with my dinosaur friends. So,
My gosh, that's too funny. Well, Kayla, where can people find you if they want to hire you as a registered dietitian, RD? Where can they find you for that? Where can they find information on Palmetto Ultras? Where can they find you on social medias as Kayla? I feel like you got a lot of hats here.
I know I do. And I have a lot of like real hats too. On Instagram mainly, Palmetto Ultras for the races, and then the Endurance Nutritionist for nutrition. And then got websites for both of those. So same thing, Palmetto Ultras, Endurance Nutritionist. And yeah, I mean, I work, like I said, mainly with runners for nutrition stuff. Anything from like that baseline membership that's super affordable, the whole way up to like one-on-one planning a fueling plan out for your next crazy adventure. And then, yeah, our races have really good quesadillas and cool swag. So come run them.
Awesome. Well, please check out Kayla. Check out her ultra marathons. Check out her as a registered dietitian. If you're struggling with nutrition for a race, go hit her up, ask some questions, start working with her. If you enjoyed this conversation, please leave us a like, leave us a comment on the Instagram post, and leave us a review. The more reviews we get, the better it helps getting more podcast episodes out. We don't want to be like number 1 million in the back of the pack. We want to move up to the front of the pack. So help us by leaving a review, leave a comment, and we'll see you on the trails.
Thanks, guys.